Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about two things. The first one is fatigue. So just feeling really tired. This may happen whenever you are reducing your calories. And it's definitely something that hit me about a month or so in, um, especially when I was really in a calorie deficit by 400 calories a day in a deficit. That fatigue really hit me pretty hard. There's some tweaks that you can do to kind of help with that. You can increase your carbs a little bit, maybe cut down on a little bit of fat and instead eat some carbs, and that'll help kind of fuel your energy. If you're doing keto, it's going to take some time for your body to adjust to use fats as energy. Um, but for me, since I use calories in and calories out, and I don't really restrict carbs, I basically just bumped up my carbs a little bit. But I also tweaked some of my exercises. So I stopped putting together weightlifting and exercise like cardio at in the same session. What I was doing was I'd walk on the treadmill and then for like 20 minutes, and then I'd go try to lift weights. And I found that I couldn't even make it through like a weightlifting session. Like usually one exercise in, I was pretty torched. So you may find that you have to separate that out, where you maybe walk in the morning or maybe after each meal, like we've talked about before. Just quick 10-minute walk, a la Stan Efforting. Between one of those, you go do your strength training, your weight training. But fatigue is definitely something that you're going to run into, and that's generally because your body is meant to survive, right? You have survival instincts, so your body is going to start to limit some of your what's called neat movements. So, like by me moving my hands when I talk, shaking my leg, when I'm at the dinner table, it drives everybody nuts. Those are neat movements. So those are movements that you're doing subconsciously that you don't even typically know that you're doing it. It's just kind of a natural thing your body does, and that actually expends calories, expends energy, and so it's burning calories. Well, when you start to lose weight, your body, as part of the survival instincts, some studies have shown where that NEAT becomes less. So your body stops shaking your leg like that, or doing, your hands and things like that. And you feel and you also find this subconsciously, you don't want to do things like you want to do less. So it's pretty interesting how our body will try to adapt to that as if we're starving. And it can be frustrating, but just stick with it. Don't overdo it. Like we've kind of talked about before, that fatigue, you might have to do some tweaks to the way you exercise. And then also definitely get checked out as far as blood work goes and things like that. About 3 months into my journey, I was still feeling a lot of fatigue. It was to the point where even if I separated my workouts, even if I ate more carbs, even if I lessened my cardio a little bit, I still, in the afternoons, and my sleep was really good. I mean, I was getting like 7 hours a night, pretty dialed in on that, but I was still getting just chronic fatigue in the afternoon. Well, one thing that I didn't realize is that my testosterone was actually completely in the toilet. Um, and so the normal testosterone range for a man is between 300 and 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. So 300 being on the low side, 1,000 being on the high side. I was 150, so I was half what the minimum was. And there's a couple theories as to why that is. I have a couple ideas as to why that is. For one thing, if you're obese for a while, it can really screw your hormones up like that. If you're carrying a lot of body fat, that will plummet your testosterone. And so that testosterone, one of the symptoms is fatigue, brain fog. There's some other side effects that you'll notice. So, that's definitely something you want to get checked out if you're a man. But even if you're a woman, like it would be good to get your hormones checked as well. Perhaps there's something going on with your thyroid, or maybe it's an estrogen issue. Maybe you're not producing enough testosterone, even as a woman. Even women have testosterone. It's greatly less than a man, but but it's still there. So that's something that if you have persistent fatigue, even months after you've successfully lost weight and you're getting exercise and you're eating well and you're getting enough carbs, if you still feel fatigued, I would definitely get your blood drawn and check for your hormones. The second thing I want to talk about is your weight stalling out, your weight loss stalling out. If you're on like a ketogenesis diet, if you're doing the keto diet, you're going to notice this probably within the first couple weeks, whenever your body drains basically all the intercellular and intermuscular water that you have from not having any carbs. You're going to lose a lot of weight at first, and then it's going to kind of plateau. And then your body's going to compensate, like we talked about before, with limiting that NEAT movement. So you may find that I would not cut your calories anymore. I think a lot of people make that mistake where they're like, okay, well, I'm going to cut my calories another 200 calories. I tried that and it didn't really move the number for me. In fact, I started eating a little bit more and I found that I lost a little more weight, which is interesting, but not by much. I think I increased my caloric intake by like 50 a day, 50 calories a day. And that seemed to kind of move the needle a little bit. But what you might find is that you have to maybe increase your exercise a little bit. So maybe walking 12 minutes each time instead of 10 minutes after each meal. You may have to find that you have to do that. But what I would encourage you to do is not to, do extremes. So like cut your calories by another 200 or, start walking 20 minutes, double your exercise, because I think you're going to burn yourself out and you're going to fatigue really bad. And then you have fatigue and you're not losing weight and you're going to bail out of the whole thing. Right. So I would just encourage you to be patient with that. Stalls, plateaus do happen, but eventually they pick back up, and you can try messing with your calorie number a little bit, up 50, or have a day, what's called a refeed day, where you eat, a couple hundred above your calorie and then go back down again and see what happens. It also could be that at one point, after I lost about 20 pounds, I felt like my body just kind of needed a reset, like a metabolic reset. I don't know if it's true. I haven't read too much on this, but I just kind of ate at maintenance for about a month. So in other words, I ate what I thought was maintenance. And I measured that through my weighing every day. And so I knew I was eating at a maintenance whenever my weight was just kind of staying the same. Now, it's normal for your weight to go up and down 1 to 2 pounds per day, right? So by weighing yourself every day, though, you can take a weekly average, and that's what you should look at, is that weekly average to determine whether your caloric intake is at maintenance, deficit, or in a surplus. But yeah, I think the thing to kind of watch out for there is, as you lose weight, your body's going to need less calories. So you will have to kind of dip your number down a little bit. But even if you're in an aggressive deficit, you shouldn't have to dip your number by a whole bunch. In fact, I would keep it where it is, and I'd increase exercise a little bit. Because it might just be that your body's getting used to the exercise and you need to push a little bit harder. But again, everything in small increments. Try to control the variables that are going into your program, if you will. Because changing too much, then you don't really know, like, oh, what did it? Was it more exercise or cutting the calories? Do kind of one thing at a time and give it time to work. Like, give it a couple weeks. But this is going to be a patience game. And I think that's really important, just to kind of wrap this up. You do have to be very patient with this. And you also have to realize that this is the rest of your life. Like, this is gone are the days where basically you are going to eat anything you want and as much as you want. That's what got us into obesity to begin with, or overweightness to begin with. So the reason why people bounce back up in weight so much after dieting, because they see diet as a phase, right? Like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds and then I'm just going to go back to what I was doing before. That is exactly how you rebound to your weight before, and plus some. And I know this because I've done that several times. So teach yourself that you have to be patient with this process, because there's no timetable on this, right? Now we all want gratification, and you don't want to be hungry and working your butt off and not seeing any results. Like, that gets frustrating. But I wouldn't start saying I'm not seeing results until like my weekly weight didn't go down for like 2 weeks straight average. Because it's funny, like sometimes I felt like I wasn't losing weight, but then I would look back at my weekly average and I was still losing weight. It was just really slow. So just be patient. This is going to be a lifelong change for you. And that is if you want to keep the weight off. If you want to lose weight for something and then gain it all back, hey, that's cool. I mean, people do that all the time for events or to fit in a dress or a suit or something like that. But for me, I don't want that weight ever coming back on. I like myself better now, and the way I feel better now than I did when I was overweight, obese. So that's it. Talking a little bit about fatigue, talking a little bit about hormones, a little bit about that stall plateau and what to do when that happens. Just some sharing some tips of things that I ran into on my journey so far. Where I am, just a quick update on where I am. I'm actually in a maintenance phase. So I am working to maintain my weight at 180 pounds. And there's a couple reasons for that. One thing, I've sustained a couple nagging little pains, one in my shoulder, one in my left elbow, just from pushing too hard, I think. And trying to heal those in a caloric deficit is challenging. So I want to give my body a little bit of time to heal. So I'm going to do that in a sustained phase. I'm also doing a 6-week, what's called mesocycle, which is a grouping of a training program that consists of certain weeks of progressive overloading or getting heavier and heavier and heavier, and then a last week of a deload. The channel called Renaissance Periodization. There's a guy named Dr. Mike Israetel. I use his RP hypertrophy app to track these mesocycles and do this. And this is kind of my first one. So I'm almost done with week 2 of 6. And I want to just feel good while I'm doing that, while I'm kind of pushing forward. I want to be able to have the energy to do that and the ability to recover. So I'm no longer eating in a calorie deficit right now while I work on my strength and I work on some muscle development. And hopefully some muscle addition. I'm not really eating at a surplus, maybe a little bit of one, just to help a little bit with some lean mass adding, hopefully. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't think I want to lose any more weight. I'm 180 pounds and wife thinks I look good and I feel good. I'm at 22% body fat. It's pretty good. So yeah, I'll just kind of stay here for at least 4 more weeks and then decide maybe if I want to lose any more weight or not. I could definitely lose some more fat, but not really in a hurry to do that. Hopefully y'all found this helpful. Hope everything's going well for you. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. Please like and subscribe the video if you like the video. If you don't like it, tell me how to make it better in the comments. And other than that, keep up the hard work. You're doing great. And I know you can do it, and I'll see you in the next video.